And we're going to make 2 6-panel doors for the entry point to the library. And these doors are going to be 1 3/4 inch thick, just the same thickness as a exterior door unit. So we want to keep it nice and hefty looking. So I got some rather nice looking lumber here. And I ran it through the joiner the other day, and I flattened this side out and these 2 sides here. And what we'll do is, in case I need to glue it up, I'll still have plenty of meat. Right now it's about 2 inches thick, 2 1/8. So we have lots of nice lumber here. I now have all the boards planed and sized to the right dimensions to run through the shaper. Now I have the pattern cutter set up, and I ran a sample piece through here, and I just wanted to make sure that it was set right. So this is what we have to watch out for. We want this dimension here to be the same as this dimension, so I had to raise it up and down. I only had to raise it about 1/1000, so come out pretty good. So I even increased the speed a little bit to 7,000. I didn't like the way it was removing the meat at the end of the cut. It was running through a little bit rough, but it's not burning the wood. Sometimes when you run at a faster speed, it'll burn the wood. So I'll keep my eye on it and make sure we don't get any burning. But it ran through real nice at 7,000 RPM. So let's set the power feeder in place, and we'll run some boards, and we'll get that run today. We'll get some nice pieces of wood shaped up for our entry door units to the library. You can see it's got that nice profile. We got that nice 1/2 inch channel there to accept our raised panel. So what we'll do is we'll run the other ones through. What I'm doing here now is I'm coping the rails into the stiles, and I did one already, and this is what it looks like. You'll have to get tapped back, but that just gives you an idea how it's done. It's the same thing as the 3/4 inch cabinet doors, but we're just doing another detail on the opposite side, naturally. So I have the coping cutter set up, and I have my jig all set to hold these blocks, and over here we have one waiting to go in. So let's run these through. I'm in the middle of laying out the rails into the stiles, and again, these are the stiles, the verticals, and the horizontals are the rails. So we want our panels, these panels here in the middle, to be the same height. And of course, we're going to make a 6-panel door, and we're going to take these pieces here and they'll split it. But right now, I'm just worried about the depth and here to here and what that measurement is. And I'll take that measurement in a second. Then we'll cut these pieces accordingly. And then this will be the last piece to cut. So let's get to work and get that done. Now, each panel now is the same height. Okay. Now what we'll do is, since we have our bottom linen, we have 80 inches from this point all the way up to this point, and these panels are the same height. Now that will give us this last height down. Now I know where to cut this center rail here. I'll know the height now. So we'll get to work on that. Okay, now let's take it over here and we will knock this guy apart a little bit and we will see how it fits. Okay. Okay. Now I'll make a nice square panel. All right, I cut the panels to a pretty close size now, and I sanded them. Now these are 1 3/8 of an inch thick, and you do say rightly, they are going to be some heavy panels for these doors. So, but that's not a problem because I like nice heavy panels, and they give the door a nice beefy look. So they'll come out really, really nice. So I'm getting ready to take the exact size of the panels and then give them another cut and keep them all in line with our door system. So let's get to work on that. I cut everything and I squared all the panels that are going to go into the door. So we have 8 verticals and 4 squares at the top. Now I made a sample piece just to check for fit, and the corners are lining up very nicely. So this is the sizes we're going to go with. As far as this here, the length is 27 3/8. So we need 8 of those. Now I have the cutter set up, and I got it set for my rough cut, and then I'll tweak it and we'll do a finish cut. So, and then I modified the jig here to hold the panels. Well, we have our panels done. I ran the finish cut also. I got really moving nicely, so I just continued rolling right through. So all of our panels came out very nice. Now, of course, they need to be sanded. So I'll sand the flats with 150 and then 220, 320. So that'll give it a nice finish there. But very nice and very hefty. Total of 1 3/8 thick. So that come out very nice. So we have a nice edge here too. So a little bit of hand sanding in here. These came out real nice. These cross grains came out very, very nice. So, but I'll just hit these side pieces here with a little bit of sandpaper also, just so there's no knife marks. We'll look at them real good. And then our big panels, they come out very nice. So they're not done yet. So a lot of handwork yet left on them. And then we'll start, we have to notch our doors, or door frames I should say, and then we'll, after that, we'll insert them. So we'll be making videos on that too. Well, I have these all notched in, and these are all mortised back. So we are going to make the appropriate depth dowels for this, and there'll be a square dowel. And we have our stiles all notched too. So they go down about 3 inches each. And this is what actually holds the door together, this slotting. So we're going to get this done today, and I'm going to run some walnut through the planer, and we will make the appropriate depth ones and start inserting our panels today. I did the standing on the angled sides here, and these are all done, all the panels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the flats now, and I already took care of doing the dowels. So all the dowels are cut to size and in place. We just have to glue them in. So we're going to get that done in a second. But right now, we're going to sand because that needs to get done before they get inserted. And then when they're inserted, we'll do a finish sand. I have door number 1 all clamped and assembled. Now I'm going to get ready to clamp the other one up. We'll get that one going. So this one come out pretty good. So all of our joints are nice and tight. And that's the way we always want them, right? So, and then we'll sand them because they're a little bit raised than the other, so we'll sand that up. Well, after 2.5 hours of sanding, I'll bet you're glad I didn't leave the video camera on for that, even though you love when I sand. But anyway, come out beautiful, don't you think? Started off with 80 grit sandpaper, and then went to 120, and then 150 and 220. Okay, today we're going to prefab our French entry doors to the library. So I have this one set up for planing. We have to put a 5-degree angle on this side of the door. So it's just going to be just a little bit of an angle like that. So we're going to remove that. Over here, I already cut the jamb. Now their wall depth is 4 5/8. So I cut these at 4 3/4. They're already sanded up. This is our sanded sides facing upwards, and this is going to be our header here. So we're going to do that in a minute, but I need to find out after planing the doors what the exact width is, what the proper space reveals between the doors themselves and the door and the frames. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll bevel them, then I'll lay them on the horses, and then we'll take the proper measurement. Then we'll cut the header to fit, and then we'll assemble the frame. All right, now I'll mortise the hinges into the door, and then we'll dry hang it and see how it lines up with our other door. Well, we got the doors hung. I got the hinges on, and they look very nice. So you can be the judge, but I like it. Anyway, there's some work to do. We have to put some ball catches up in here, and they'll insert into the top of the door. And it's just a spring-loaded ball, and there's a catch in here for both doors. And when the door closes, the ball will plunge up into the frame, and it'll hold it solid. And then we're going to put a double-edged piece of molding here, and then of course we're going to do our doorstop molding around here. This will be the foyer side of the room, and I'm probably going to make a molding like this. You know, nothing special, just a corner. Now this will match the windows, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to nail it in there, and we'll miter it in, and then we'll bring it right across, all the way across. And then over here we need to make a double-edged molding. So I'll probably just play around with the edges a little bit till I find something that I like. I also, while I'm at it, I'm going to make some corner moldings for our corner workstations back where the backsplash is. Okay, so I just want to do something real tiny, something about maybe about 3/8 inch by maybe 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so while I have our machine set up, we're gonna run these. Okay, so I'm about ready to start it up, so let me set up the tripod and you can see how I make these moldings. Okay. Okay, now we have our double edge molding cut, and we're going to let this one go, and I already set the machine up to ease this corner of our doorstop molding. So let's get that done. You can see how rounder this one is compared to that one, and naturally, as you can imagine, we don't want this sharp edge. So with the machine doing that, it just gives it a nice factory finish. All right, let's run the rest. Okay, they're finished now. I just have to hand sand the surface. I can't get a machine on there because it's just too narrow of a molding. But we brought these door stops and double edge molding to 9/16, and I like that height. It looks like a good, beefy, solid height. And then for our little scribe moldings at our workstations, they're 3/8 of an inch. So they'll flex and they'll bend when I put them in place. Now, what I'm going to do, it looks like a double edge molding now, and I'm just going to run it through the table saw and knock it off. So that will be the remainder left there. Okay, so let's get to work, and I'll sand these up. The sanding's completed, and I also ran the backsplash for the workstation molding through, and that's what I want. I just want a little 3/8 by 3/8 molding. So when I put it in, that I can flex it, even though the corner is perfect, you still, when you sit it in there, you want to get it nice and tight and down to both surfaces, the downside and the backsplash side. So you really have to get them nice and flexible so you can push it in. Now, when I apply it with the nail gun, it'll give it a slight little tap into place. So with those two combined, the flexibility and the nail gun, these should go in there really nice. So we got them set, and of course, we got our double edge molding cut, and we're ready to install these. So I'm going to start taking care of that right now. I'm going to start reinstalling all the hardware back into the doors and frames. So it's less to do at the project site. So we'll start with our ball catches, and this is the top of the door, and we have plates, catch plates for the frame. We'll get to that in a second. It's nice when everything's all mortised and you just have to put them in place. Now we'll start off with our tongues on our frames. And of course this is the header part of the frame. And it looks very nice with the finishing done. Nice black hardware. Okay, now with that done, we'll move it out of the way and we'll start setting our hinges into our frame. Nice and tight. Black hardware looks very nice against this this walnut with its finishing. Now we'll move on to our door hinge butts, and we'll get them secured here. I have the doors positioned to do the lock installation, so let's get that done, and I'll walk you through how this is going to get done. What I did is I made this template here, and it has a notch at the top here, and what I'm going to do is I'll position this on the door with a clamp, and then I'll set this in there. Now the board height is 36 inches, so what we're going to do is we're going to mount it on the door, and I'll show you what I'm up to here. Okay, that's why shop work's so nice, because we can make these kind of jigs when we want to. So what I'll do is I'll just position it on there, and I'll take my clamp and I'll clamp it on. Now I have this one marked with some green tape, and this is my 36-inch mark. I want my lock center with this panel, okay? So everything is nice and organized. Now, something like this, okay? This one goes over on this side here, okay? So that's the way we want it in the center there. Of course, we want to put our escutcheon plate on there first, okay? So, from here over to the center is 2 3/8, just like it's a regular lock, okay? Now, these are dummy locks. So we're just going to mount a plate on there with 2 screws, and then we put our escutcheon plate over it, and that will set it. So I'll just take a nice light clamp, put it on like that, okay, And again, that's our 2 3/8 mark. And then we put this plate on here. Make sure our holes are nice and square, and I can eyeball them. Okay, that looks maybe just a little bit more. All right. And again, that's in center with our panel here. And I'll take my center bore and I'll drill 2 nice holes. And I'll remove that. Take my other drill bit. I just want to go a little bit deeper. Okay. Now with that done, I can mount my mounting plate. It's 1 and 2. Okay, now with that done, I can remove my jig. Now the jig, it just keeps everything nice and neat and organized. Now I'll take my escutcheon plate. Snap that on there. Put my handle on, and here's a back set screw. And what we want to do is reverse it. That will draw the screw out into the holding hole. And that's it. That's it. Nice and solid. Again, it's just a lever lock. It's a dummy lock. It doesn't have any function at all, and it's just acts as a handle to open our doors. Okay, we started to prep the frame, and we have one door hung. So it's coming along pretty good. We'll put the other one in, and we'll start to shim it and move it out to meet the other door, so we can keep a consistent reveal line all the way around the frame, and at the same time a consistent reveal line between the door and frame. So looking pretty good. That's a nice quality frame matching our furniture quality doors. Now we're starting to put our pilaster moldings on, and again we're going to put our cabinet up here. So I already started nailing, and I'm adjusting the frame, and we'll get a nice reveal through here. So let's get one up. Alright, we already took the liberty of putting a 45-degree angle in there, and then I did my back cut return pieces, and we're going to put that on. Now this is the plank of the cabinet head, and under here we'll put what looks like a doorstop, and then the actual cabinet head figure will be up here. Just like the window was done, we're going to do this the same way. So with this, I always like to put a little bit of glue on there, and we'll use our pinner gun. And I'll put a little bit of glue. Get my little pin gun here. And 1, 2, and 3. We'll hold it for a couple of lifetimes. And we'll get our other side prepared. Now the pin gun's very nice because when I pull the trigger, the head just cavitates a little bit. Not a lot of force like a traditional nail gun. It's a very easy gun to work with. So this is similar to a doorstop molding, and this will be on the bottom of the plank of the cabinet head. So let's get this guy cut and do a 45 here. And what I'll do is I'll set it up here and I'll line this end up with the miter that's on our plank. That done, I'm going to go ahead and make the returns on our spare block. And we'll cut our second one now. Now just to show you what I did, we have our cabinet head plank and we have our cabinet head bottom molding or doorstop, and then these returns will fit in there like that, give it a nice finish edge. So with that done, let's run a bead of glue on here. Okay, change nail guns. Okay, with that done, I'll change my nail guns. We'll do our pinner and we'll put our return blocks on. Do our other side. Okay, now with that done, I'll move on to the actual cabinet head molding, which will be here, and it'll have the same return joints on the ends. All right, on the actual cabinet head, I want to cut this a little bit longer than our bottom door molding, door stop molding, if you will, because I want to give it a more dimensional look. So let's start off by mitering this corner here. So as you can see, that when I cut this bottom molding, I went from this line here and I started my miter. Here I'm going to start here. So I'm going to move it over 3/4 of an inch and I'll give it a step look. And this top cabinet head molding will exceed the bottom one, and that's what we want to do. Okay. All right. Now we'll center it. And we'll take it in, dry fit it, and see how it stands. All right. Line it up. And it looks great. And I'll put some long nails in there and that will hold it tight. And position it. Line that up. Okay. Check it. Okay, looks good. Nice and tight here. Nice and tight. Now that's what I was saying earlier. I could adjust this molding because this depth here matters a lot. If the molding's even off 1/8 of an inch, the eye will pick it up. So actually it looks pretty good. And this side looks pretty good. So I'll nail them tight in a few minutes. I just finished the nail hole filling. As you can see, the locks are on. The moldings are all done. Our cabinet heads installed. We're all cleaned up for the day. Look very, very nice. And take you inside so you can see. Our locks come out very nice. And the detail on our moldings. I did some nail hole filling. That's all squared away.